Take a breath. Feel your heart. Ground yourself. Plant your feet on the floor or the ground and just feel yourself connecting to your roots. Feel your strength, your support system. Today is Sacred Sunday, and I'm going to read Lesson 257 from A Course in Miracles. Let me remember what my purpose is. If I forget my goal, I can be but confused, unsure of what I am, and thus conflicted in my actions. No one can serve contradicting goals and serve them well. Nor can he function without deep distress and great depression. Let us therefore be determined to remember what we want today, that we may unify our thoughts and actions meaningfully and achieve only what God would have us do this day. Father, Mother, forgiveness is your chosen means for our salvation. Let us not forget today that we can have no will but yours, and thus our purpose must be yours as well, if we would reach the peace you will for us. Okay. So that's a very spiritual reading, and some people don't relate well to the spiritual readings. So I'm gonna actually try to translate that into something that could feel more real for people. If you've ever encountered internal family systems, it's a type of therapy, and in that type of therapy, I don't know how to say, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but basically there's a higher self, and that higher self has always been with you. It is you. It's what I would call your spirit. And it sees you, it knows you, it's compassionate, it's curious, it's open, it's expansive. There's actually like I'm trying to remember the model, but basically you have a higher self. And then you have like wounded child parts. And then you have protectors that came up to protect those wounded child parts. The wounded child parts you didn't know how to take care of, and your primary caregivers or your parents didn't know how to take care of either. So you shove those parts of you down in the basement, and then what comes up when people meet with you is usually your protectors. Or you can have firefighters, which is when you get activated, and then you usually have like some sort of thing that kind of blocks you from interacting with people. Okay, so I'm going to translate that into A Course in Miracles, and what A Course in Miracles is saying, particularly right here, but throughout the Course. The Course says that your will is one with God, and God wants your happiness. So if God is your higher self, and you're not, essentially you are the be all and the end all, but that's you connected to everything. That is you as everything. So Your will is one with God's. God's will is, your will is one with God's. God's will is your will. But sometimes, and I'm thinking about the mandala or the mandala. I think it's mandala. That I know Carl Jung talks about. Basically, your higher self is in the center of that mandala, and you have all of these parts coming out of you. And the idea is to integrate all of these parts and bring them back into the whole. And in doing that, the whole expands to the whole circle. Your higher self becomes all of that. And so you're conscious of all of that. And in being conscious of all of that, you're aligned and you know your purpose. I hope that made sense. Okay. So let me just end today's Sacred Sunday. Sacred Sunday is, for me, it's something that I created, and it's about connecting with the divine through usually some type of reading. It could be A Course in Miracles, it could be something else. And then kind of thinking about that so that we can integrate it into our lives. So if you were to integrate this into your life, and this kind of uses some of my other practices, like acknowledge, validate, care for, and the Gestalt cycle of awareness, which is not mine, but I share that. In the Gestalt cycle of awareness, you might, maybe you're overwhelmed. So you might sit down and then just breathe. And then you might notice some sort of sensation in your body. You might notice a thought. You might notice a fantasy that you have about something. Or, yeah, you might be like imagining something or thinking about something, how you want something to be. Just whatever, or it might be a feeling. So a sensation, a feeling, a thought, or some sort of fantasy might be coming up for you. Once you're aware of that, just acknowledge it. And I do it like this. I actually say to myself, I see you, or I feel you, or whatever it is. So, for example, I feel you out of breath. And then if I know why I'm out of breath, I might validate that. But if I don't know, I can just say, what can you tell me about this? Or what is this? What are you trying to tell me? What is this trying to tell me? And then I just sit with it, and then something may come up. So you can be curious about it. So acknowledge, validate if you know, and be curious if you don't. And then care for it. What do you need to do to care for it? Sometimes it's just sitting with it. Sometimes it's expressing yourself. Sometimes it's saying something to somebody. Sometimes it's getting up and getting something or doing something to move you towards where you want to go, to satisfy that urge. And then you calm down. Once that urge or that sensation is calmed, you can let it go, and something new will emerge. So you need to do all those steps in order to have closure, in order for something else to come up. Otherwise, things will just keep coming. The same thing will keep coming and coming. But that's okay too, because it's not taken as much, it's not coming up as strong yet for you to be able to do something with it. And something else may be more urgent of a need. Okay, so that's what I was saying about how do we take care of all of these parts of ourselves and then expand and become that whole circle, that mandala. It's really just when something comes up in you, acknowledging it and making friends with it. You make friends with the protectors in internal family systems. That's how I think of it. And then you care for the wounded child parts. So that's really, I think, how you also address all of your shadow, because some of these parts we don't like or we're not comfortable with. But if we can listen to them, we can hear what they're trying to tell us. Particularly the protectors. I think sometimes people don't like the protectors, but sometimes we also don't like the wounded child parts of ourselves. So it's really getting to know ourselves. And then as you expand, like from that central point of your higher self, and your higher self becomes the whole, you become conscious and you accept and integrate all of those parts of you, you become sovereign. You are able to self-rule, and you're also able to co-create, which is really cool. And co-create what you want, because you're always co-creating, but sometimes it's like not really what you want. And that's because it is serving a higher purpose. There's a part of you that you're pushing down that you don't want to see, and it's coming up in that way because you've been ignoring it or pushing it down. Okay, so practice self-love and self-compassion and curiosity for yourself. And I keep hearing about this, like, this keeps coming up for people, or I just keep hearing about it. People that call themselves spiritual, and they really try hard to be good. They try to be good. Okay, that's to be good. They really try hard to be good and to do everything that they think that they're supposed to do. And then what makes that hard is that they're not looking at the parts of them that are hurting. So they're really focused on other and doing good to other, but because they're ignoring and abandoning themselves, it's not coming out right. It's coming out as sometimes anger, sometimes passive aggressiveness, because they've abandoned themselves. So that's another reason why it's really important to shine that light on yourself and love yourself. Because we can only go as far in our spirituality as we've gone in ourselves. And just for an example, like I used to wait to do things with my kids that I really wanted to do, and then they hated it, like making Christmas cookies. Like, sometimes they liked it, but I would want to do all these things, and then they wouldn't want to do them, or they would want to change them, and they would want to make, and not that I wasn't open to that too, but it just felt like the part that I wanted to share with them, they didn't want. But what I learned from all that really was that I had been not valuing myself. And so what I'm doing differently now is I'm like, I want to do this. I want to bake Christmas cookies. I want to listen to Christmas carols. I want to decorate the tree. And whoever wants to do it with me, yay, do it with me. But if you don't want to do it with me, I actually am having fun myself, and I'm really appreciating myself, which is something that I never did before, because I felt like it was a waste of time and energy. Isn't that sad? But can you relate to that? I think particularly as women, but not just women, there are people out there who are just very sensitive and loving and care so much about others, but they forget about themselves, or they don't count themselves, or they put themselves last. And that takes a toll on you. And eventually you become resentful. You matter. You matter, and you actually are the most important person. You should be that to yourself. Because if you're not that to yourself, nobody else is going to value you. How can you hold yourself sacred today and remember your purpose?